Welcome to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. The Alumni podcast where you get to hear the inspiring stories and transformation that DVC has had to offer its alumni. And now, on with the episode. Didn't fail, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, we'll get started here in a second. So anyways, we'll go like that just for fun.
Action.
There we go. Action. And we are live. And hey, folks, welcome to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. And I have my lovely friend here, Sabrina Beisner. This is kind of round two, because before I did it like just as an article. And so now we actually get to do, what are you doing now? Because you actually have some stuff going on. So let's start with introducing yourself a little bit, kind of like what your journey has been. So go back to growing up, and for full transparency, I worked with her dad for about 10 years. So I kind of know more than a little bit of her history. So I'm going to fill in some of the blanks that she probably glosses over. So anyways, go ahead. Let's start with where you grew up.
Well, I grew up right here in Pleasant Hill. I was born and raised right at the John Muir Hospital over there. And so
you were raised there.
Well, I wasn't raised at the hospital, no. I was I was born and raised in Pleasant Hill, though. And my dad actually even went to DVC when he was a kid, too. So I've known DVC since I was a kid. I mean, I learned how to drive in the parking lot out here. I have been here kind of my entire life. I've even started taking classes in high school here. I did my Spanish requirement for my high school credits here. So it's always just kind of been in my backyard, you know? And so from there, I always knew that I could always get credits here. I did end up going to East Bay, and guess what? DVC was right down the road to help me with my anatomy, my physiology. I think I even took psychology here and trigonometry. So a lot of courses for my bachelor's I took right here in-house at DVC, actually.
Hey. So a couple of things, just because she just glossed all over stuff. And so we're going to get to it. You have been dancing for most of your life. So talk a little bit about that. So.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So I grew up at a dance studio called Studio A in Pleasant Hill.
Which you currently teach at, and we'll get to that too.
Yeah. And so I started dancing when I was, I think, 4 years old officially. And I would even perform right here at DVC in the theater. That was where all of my studio's recitals were. So I started in like jazz and just kind of went all over the place. I started taking tap and hip hop and contemporary and ballet. And I just immediately fell in love with it. I started my first ever job actually in middle school, which was dancing for the Golden State Warriors. Oh, okay. Which was really cool. And so,
and by the way, I do know that your dad was so excited about that, because
he got to get a little bit.
Well, yeah, he's kind of crazy excited about all the stuff that you have done. So, but yeah, you got to go in and dance for the Golden State Warriors, and you did that for quite a while.
I did. Yeah, I did that for 3 seasons. It was right when we got the like blue and gold and the new ownership and the new logo with the bridge in it. So I got to experience Stephen Curry coming up, because he was the newbie actually my first season.
Wow.
So everyone was like, who is this kid? And
so you were newbies together. It's like, and you're like hanging out together, right?
Oh my gosh, totally.
Yeah.
We're best friends.
Yeah, have his peeps called my peeps. So
exactly.
And that was very exciting. And like I said, I know he was very excited about it. What was that like, dancing for the Golden State Warriors?
It was so much fun, because I mean, so I was in middle school, so I hadn't really had much working experience yet, right? This was technically my first job and my first paycheck. So not only was I showing up to rehearsals like I would for my competition teams, but I was actually showing up for a job. And so going to practice, that was like my first introduction into showing up as my 100% self every single day, and making sure that that was like my standard, essentially, you know? So from a very young age, that's where like I began to transform for not just doing something recreationally, but to actually start putting my passion towards a goal. And at that time, that goal was entertainment. And it was entertaining Oracle Arena, which was so cool. Like being able to dance at that age in front of all of those people. It's a feeling that you can't really describe, but it's so liberating and freeing.
So what was it? So up to that point, you'd been doing like competition and you've been dancing at your studio for a while and all that stuff. And then, so how did you find out about the gig? I mean, I bet your dad tracked it down somehow. But,
I started going to Oakland School for the Arts in middle school, and there were some kids there that were already on the team, and so I was like, "Wait, you can dance for the Warriors and get paid to do that at our age? That's crazy!" And so I went to the auditions that year, and so I ended up dancing with a lot of the kids I went to school with, since I went to OSA for 7 years.
Yeah. So was it, you had to try out?
There was a full audition process, and I have been following how they do it nowadays too, because they've been posting all about it, and it's crazy now. It's so insane. I feel like I got by just on like my cute little smile, but they have like interviews now, and they have boot camps, and they do the auditions live on a stage in front of Chase Center now. It's like it's a whole thing where like a public crowd can go. So I mean, I guess because I was dancing for a well-known brand, which is the Golden State Warriors, I'm also representing that brand out there in the world. And so we would go to also like pop-up events where, they would have Warriors Junior Jam present, and they would have us talk to the crowd as representatives of, that brand. So it was really cool, really fun. And it also taught me a lot about what it means to like show up as myself out in the world.
So again, your dad was, I'm sure your mom was too, but I got to hear about it constantly. Which is great. I mean, he's like, there's nothing. I know I got my kids, and it's like if you give me a minute, I'll bore you to death with them. So it's just like and it's like he's very, very excited about it. So you you also went. You alluded to you went to the Oakland School for the Arts. Talk about that process. So how did you get into the school? I mean, is it just one of those things where you show up first day and knock on the door and say, "Hey, let me in"? Is it like Hogwarts where you got to push the thing to the wall? What's the process like to get in there?
When I was a kid, I believe they've changed it a little bit since then. But when I was a kid, it was an audition process. So I think it was actually on the news is where I found out they were talking about the school moving into the Fox Theater. Because my first year there was the first year that the school was in the Fox Theater. And now they've built a whole park and everything. It's crazy now. It's so beautiful. And so I auditioned, I made it, and I was enrolled in my 6th grade year. That was my first year there. And it was so much fun. And it was also really interesting to study ballet and modern for 3 hours a day, starting at 6th grade level. That was just unheard of. So it was really cool to.
So up to that point, had you been studying some of those other art forms?
Yes. Yeah. Like, are you talking about like visual art, or are you
I'm talking about style because okay, so I can vaguely recognize some different dance styles. Your dad would sit there and tell about this, that, and the other thing, and I'm sure you can fill me with it too. But like how this is different than that. And at some point, we probably should go down that rabbit hole because I'm just it. But you started off. You were going to this.
To a studio, and so that was a very, it was dramatized on Dance Moms, but you can think of like the competition world in that sense. like what you were seeing there, the jazz and the tap and ballet. So I had a good root and a good base level of training from the competition studio because we had to be some level of good in order to compete, right? But when I auditioned for this school, it's like transferring into a training more for a ballet or a modern company. So at the school we did ballet, modern, very Alvin Ailey, San Francisco ballet, Martha Graham level training. Whereas like competition, I would say gets you more ready for the LA world, Hollywood, being able to do quick auditions for music videos or touring and being able to do like street jazz or hip hop and the commercial stuff, you would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was really, you got to learn rather than the kind of the more commercial aspect of it, you got to learn the very hardcore, basic discipline.
The art of it. Yes. And it was different because, at that point, you go from just a 1 hour, maybe a 2 hour rehearsal outside that your parents are bringing you to recreationally. It's embedded in your daily schedule. I have to study this for 3 hours a day. I'm getting evaluated. I have a grade. It applies to my GPA that gets me into college. It became very important. It became a job, where I had to make sure that I was showing up not just for my teachers, but for myself too. Because at the end of the day, if I wasn't doing the training on my own, then I wasn't going to get better.
Yeah.
I wanted to get a good grade. So,
well, and I imagine that's kind of, there's a mindset change that occurs along the way that has to occur. Because you go from, an hour a day, 4 or 5 days a week to, you get dropped off, you do your thing. And then, dad or mom is sitting out there chit-chatting with the other adults and then they leave to, this is now my job and part of it. And you got to really love what you do to be able to kind of commit to that. And it probably shows that some of the kids probably weren't as committed.
Yeah. There was only, I think, 4 of us in my graduating class that had started from 6th grade and finished completely. And there was 6 of us as seniors overall. And that was probably, I think, the biggest pool from the 6th grade up that the school had so far by the time we graduated. So it was really interesting to be like, hey, we're the last men standing. Good job. Like, we did it. And it was a lot of work. And not just physically, but emotionally too. Like, you're really finding yourself when you're just training that much and that hard in a discipline. And so it's a lot of looks in the mirrors, not just for ballet, looking at your lines, but also.
Well, and anytime you've committed to something like that, especially at an early age, it's like, it's easy to kind of hit a brick wall. And so you got through most of that. I know one of your dad's very excited points, and I'm going to narc you out on this, is you got to dance with at one point, and this was towards the end of your high school career.
Yes, I was 16. So I believe I was getting ready to go into my senior year, I want to say. I don't remember the date exactly, but I was in my senior year because I broke my foot. And I danced with a broken foot that night.
All right, let's back up a little bit. So let's back up. So talk about how you got this. So we haven't even told them what the opportunity is. So tell us what the opportunity was.
So I danced with Janet Jackson as an extra in the Rhythm Nation for her tour. So she was on tour at this point for her new album. And at each city, she was hiring local dancers to fill in for the Rhythm Nation portion of her show. And so I had the opportunity because actually one of the dancers that I trained and grew up with was one of her main dancers. And so she was like, well, when we're in my hometown, I have dancers, trust. And so she hit up our team. And so we all showed ourselves in front of the choreographers and the casting directors, and they picked us and taught us the dance within like an hour. And we had like maybe 2 days to rehearse, I think. And it was go time. And so I believe it was a Tuesday, Wednesday show. So there was a Tuesday night and a Wednesday night show. So I got to do it twice, which was really cool. And it was incredible. And I did it on a broken foot.
How'd you break your foot?
So I broke my foot actually on a bar mitzvah. I was a motivator dancer at a bar mitzvah, and I was just having so much fun with the kids on the riser with me that I just kept looking at them leading dances, not realizing that the edge of the stage was right here. And so I just took one step too big and I fell off.
Wow. But you were able to suck it up enough to go through that. That's an amazing thing to put on your resume too.
It's on my medical record too, because
I wasn't talking about the foot part.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I was thinking more about the dancing, and I know that was very exciting. We got to see the video quite often, and it was very exciting because
quite often.
Well, no, and again, this is I get it. It's just like pops they're usually very excited about what their kids are doing, especially when they see them at gym. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I think your mom is a close number 2, but I think pops it comes in second. It comes in first. So, so from there, you went to. You made several career choices, which again, it's I mean,
discovering self identity.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things I it's like all the time people go, oh, I just don't know what to do. It's like, go to DVC.
Yeah,
figure out what you're going to do. None of us know what we're going to be when we're growing up, unless we're going to be a doctor or an engineer. And even then, sometimes it doesn't work out. So talk about that transition that you went through because you decided you weren't going to dance anymore.
Yeah, there was just a moment in life where I was really focused on work, and I was trying to become a physical therapist. So I was going to school and really focusing on all of those anatomy courses I was talking about earlier, and just really trying to get my degree. And then on top of that, the pandemic hit right in the middle of that too. So actually the DVC classes made it a lot easier to be able to do my full career of college off, and I could oh my gosh, words aren't coming out right.
That's okay.
Right now. This is crazy.
So you were able to get your classes.
I was able to get my classes because it was online, and I was able to complete my degree. That's what I meant to say. Complete my degree without having to do an extra year because of the online portion. So I was able to complete that.
And that's actually a story. It's versions of that is what I hear all the time about DVC. And that's one of the things I think where we have great programs in that it's it gets the things plugged in that you need to. So you're not going to school, paying for 6 years of school and getting a bachelor's, it's you can get, or even 5 years.
I was able to get it done in 5 years. It was looking because of the pandemic, I was going to be 6, maybe even 7. But because I was able to plug and play with all of those classes, I was able to get it done on time, and I didn't have to go back to campus.
So during that time period, you got into the entertainment business. So and I know you really, really loved that. So talk a little bit about that. What is that?
It's so funny because I am a dancer. There are a lot of dancers in the special events industry. And so one of my dance teachers, he was like, hey, I think you would be a really good motivator. And so I ended up being a motivator, which is kind of like a party camp counselor for the night is the best way I can describe it. You lead games, dances, help the MC kind of bring in the crowd, get them moving, get them hype, right? And so I fell in love with that. And it's so much fun, and to be able to help make memories for people. And they are like, oh, do you remember this at my party? And I'm like, yeah, I actually do. I start to recognize people in the community. It's really fun. And I started really enjoying that, but I always looked at it as the coolest second time job, that's my part job. That's what's getting me, extra money for my food on the weekends. I didn't think I could make it a career. And so I learned how to DJ, and then I got on the microphone and I started being able to MC. So I started leading my own events, and I was training motivators and DJs, and I kind of knew how to do it all and help out as much as I can on events. And I fell in love with it so much that while I was in my senior year of college, I was working at a physical therapy clinic. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a physical therapist, but I'm really happy doing events right now. And I had to look at myself in the mirror for a second and be like, do you really want to be a physical therapist? Like, it's looking like you have more opportunities here as an MC and as an entertainer. And I had a really good year or season. I would say, since I specialize in the bar and bat mitzvahs, not only thing I do, but my specialty takes up majority of my event calendar. It lasts during like the school year. So I kind of say during the year, but I'm referring to more of like a school year. And I was looking at it at the end of May and I was like, wow, I'm actually really good at this. Why do I only give part of my time to this? Why am I putting so much effort into physical therapy when I wasn't happy? And I just felt like I was expending so much energy there. So I took a leap of faith and I went out and I quit physical therapy, and I ended up leaving the company that initially got me into the industry, and I started my own Take Stage Entertainment.
We were going to get to that. Hold on. So you've done the entertainment. So a little bit, I want to kind of talk on the self-reflection you did from, okay, I don't want to do physical therapy, you know, and again, I mean, I just
spent like 5 years in college, like focusing on it. But I realized that it wasn't the only focus that my degree was in. I got a kinesiology degree. And so I started teaching dance during the end of my college time too. And I realized that I could take everything that I learned in my classes and actually put it on my students so that we can prevent injury and so that we can optimize their training. And like when I'm looking at different types of skills, I'm like, oh, you know what? The kid probably can't do that because they haven't developed that motor skill yet, you know? So it actually ended up being really helpful in that sense. And I don't feel like my degree is really wasted.
It's not wasted. Were you still continuing to teach dance during this whole time, or was that something you kind of walked away from and then came back?
Yeah, I walked away from it my freshman year of college, really, because I really wanted to go on the physical therapy route.
You ran out of time.
And I ran out of time, exactly. So I started teaching again in 2023 at a dance studio called Lisa Performing Arts in Fremont. And I fell in love with it again. It kind of helped me fall in love with dance again too. And it made me want to start training again. So I started training again as well. And now I'm competing again myself. And so that's really fun. And it's been really helpful to kind of rediscover how I want to be not only as a student, but also now as a teacher and a leader. So it's really exciting.
That is really exciting. You didn't tell me you were competing again. Oh my gosh. So, okay. So, yeah.
I've done 2 competitions this year now, and we won first at World of Dance, and then we won third at Body Rock in San Diego.
Wow. Okay.
So really so you're exciting.
All right, you're stepping up the game. So
I am.
So you got back into dance. The understanding anatomy definitely is paying off because now
so much.
Well, and the thing is I think back to when I was coaching softball, which again, had I understood anatomy better, I probably could have been a better coach in that understanding. Because these were kids who are 12, 13, 14, understanding what their physical needs, and they were elite athletes. However, they also had limitations on what they could do. But so it's like I could see where that has really come in handy, and it sounds like you've really fallen back in love with that.
I have, yeah.
And it's fun too, after having competed, then to kind of pass that along to other folks.
Yeah, and like I've noticed because I started teaching in 2023, but then I started competing again for myself and started training again for myself. December of last year, so almost a year now. And what I've noticed is ever since I've started training again and competing and putting myself in that, I've been able to teach a lot better. And I'm starting to learn more things that I'm like, ooh, that would be really helpful to teach my students on Monday. And it's been really fun to see their growth now because I can actually kind of see my growth with them. So it's really cool. And they're pushing me to do, I'm trying to learn how to do like a handless cartwheel right now, which is called an aerial. And that's all because of them. I'm like, you know what? I could do that too. So.
Well, and we thought the other day when we were at coffee, you talked about that. And so when you get that done, get a video of it and we'll post it up on our...
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm very excited about that. So
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Nobody's going to be watching. So you're teaching again, you're loving it, and you did the DJ thing for somebody else, and then you had the nerve to go out there and start your own gig.
I know.
Let's talk about how frightening that was and like what you've done to kind of step through that.
It was definitely scary, and it still is scary. I feel a little delusional sometimes, but I say that if your dreams aren't delusional, then they're not big enough, right? So I started my own thing in August of this year of 2025, and it's called Take Stage Entertainment and Productions.
Which there will be links to it down in the
Yeah. And so we actually just had our first event on Sunday, which was exciting. I had 5 dancers along my side. We did a little 60s inspired flash mob, and it got great reviews from the client, and we're really excited about where we're going to branch off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when your services, what is included in that? What's the menu look like?
So we are an entertainment company for live events. So we have everything from MCs, DJs, motivator dancers. We have specialty dancers too. So like, let's say you wanted like a Polynesian dancer or a break dancer, you can book that through us. We also have dance teachers. We do specialty packages. So if you wanted a dance that's choreographed for your father-daughter dance or your quinceañera court dance, like we can do all of that under one roof. So all of your entertainment needs.
Okay. And where can they find you?
They can find us at takestageentertainment.net. Okay.
And we will have links to all that in the bottom here. I'm actually very excited. So I'm looking forward to more stuff. You know, I think this has been so exciting. And you've only launched this 15 minutes ago and already you've got stuff going on.
We got some events on the books. Our calendar is filling up quickly. So I'm excited.
So again, we'll have links in this. And then because it's now recorded, you got to send me some stuff of your guys that I can throw into this.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
I have a lot of content now. So
good. Yeah. Send me some content that'll be included in this. I'll figure out in my vast editing skills, which if you see my stuff is not very vast, but I'll figure out a way to make it work. And I'm very excited. And thank you for coming all the way in here. I'm so excited. And we'll keep working together and we'll have her on again.
Yay!
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Charlie.
You bet. Thank you for tuning in to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next, the podcast for the DVC Alumni Association. You can contact us at alumni@dvc.edu with any comments, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our podcast. There we go. Figured it out. Believe it or not, it was operator error.
No.
You've never had that happen because you're a professional.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. My heart doesn't drop when the video montage plays every single time because I'm waiting for it to fail.
Yeah. I think they're required to have issues and fail. So
yeah.